A warm welcome to you anywhere around the world. This is Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. We'll begin from the National Assembly, where a bill seeking to grant enforcement powers to the Revenue, Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission has passed second reading at the Senate. The bill, which is for concurrence from the House of Representatives, is for repeal and reenactment to strengthen the Commission in discharging its duties for monitoring of accruals and disbursement of revenue from the Federation accounts. This is in conformity with the provisions of the Constitution. Senate also passed for second reading bill to establish Federal University of Applied Science in Manchok, Kaduna State, to enhance the application of scientific knowledge for practical problem solving in Nigeria. The bill is sponsored by Senator Sunday Katun. In another development, the House of Representatives has called for more proactive steps from the security agencies towards addressing cases of banditry and kidnappings in parts of the country. This followed several motions of urgent public importance, especially the reported cases of insecurity in parts of Enugu, Kaduna, and Abia states.
This might be the fourth time that we will be observing 1 minute silence this morning. If you recall, in our last meeting, we were almost tagging our country, one Nigerian life, 1 minute silence. It is not enough. The most quoted section of the Constitution on the floor of this House is section 14.2, which has to do with security of lives and property.
Mr. Speaker, between 2015 to 2023, more than 19 trillion naira was spent on security and security-related matters in Nigeria. Whereas we have an alternative where we can bring in mercenaries. It was attempted during President Goodluck Jonathan. They were about to finish Boko Haram.
Urge the Nigerian police force and the Nigerian army, as well as the Department of State Security Services, to collaborate and ensure that the culprits involved are brought to book.
Correspondent Mitaire Ikpen reports that the House also mandated its Committee on Navy to investigate the circumstances surrounding the death of one Richard Onomaegu, who was a civil servant in Abia State. The deceased reportedly died after he was allegedly tortured by men of the Nigerian Navy over a civil dispute. The House of Representatives has appealed to the Academic Staff Union and the management of University of Abuja to find a common ground to end the ongoing strike in the institution. At an investigative hearing, the House Committee on University Education maintained that the failed engagements forwarded by ASU will be addressed. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
The Academic Staff Union, University of Abuja branch, embarked on strike to press for their demands. This prompted the committee to investigate the cause of the industrial action. This meeting is to resolve amicably the issues in contention. On its part, ASU highlighted its grievances to include advertorial of the post of the Vice Chancellor, appointment of deans of faculties, recruitment of staff, among other alleged anomalies.
In spite of the branch ESCO interaction and zonal visitation of ASU to the Vice Chancellor on the same concern, he remains non-responsive.
The regulation of the university gave the Vice Chancellor certain powers in the process of employment. There's nothing that is done outside the regulations of the university.
Please do suspend the strike while we look into the issues.
Assuming up to the end of June, the council of the university have not been reconstituted, what will happen? Do we sit down, watch, then appoint one of the DVCs? I don't know whether the DVCs also, I don't know whether their tenure also will be expiring at the same time with the Vice Chancellor.
The Committee on Tertiary Education thereafter asked Abuja ASU and the university management to go back to the negotiation table and resolve contending issues to report back progress within 1 week. From the National Assembly, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says it has released additional 531 results, taking the total number of results released to 1,842, while it continues the screening of over 64,000 results withheld. JAMB's head of public affairs, Fabian Benjamin, the board notes that in the course of the exercise, other cases of examination misconduct were also established, bringing the tally of examination misconducts to 92 from 81 initially discovered. While JAMB investigates cases of unverified candidates, it will soon come up with a position. The statement adds that the attention of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has been drawn to some fallacious publications purporting that unknown candidates who did not sit for the board's 2024 UTME obtained scores. This, the board describes as fake, malicious, and a calculated attempt to undermine its integrity. It, however, urges Nigerians to disregard such irresponsible publications. Minister of Education, Professor Maman, promised to collaborate with relevant agencies to cleanse the education sector of fraudulent practices. This is when he received a report of an interministerial investigative committee on degree certificate milling. He reiterated government's determination and commitment to get rid of both public and private institutions in the country of fake certificates. He said no government official implicated in the scandal will be spared.
We will implement everything that comes from the reports. Not just unearthing people who are culpable, but systems review. We will very quickly take decisions. Those that have to go further, we will pass it further. For instance, to the Federal Executive Council.
Meanwhile, the minister pledged to spearhead a profound transformation within Nigeria's education sector, aligning closely with government's strategic vision, particularly in skill development to redefine the nation's educational landscape. He said this when he equally received reports from two committees on assessment review of TET Fund Center of Excellence in 12 Nigerian universities, an advisory committee on operationalization of TET Fund Skills Development Special Intervention. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says it is taking further steps to strengthen security and the safety of students. The Corps Commander of the National Safe School Response Coordination Center, Hamid Aboduri, told a delegation of leadership of Nigerian students that the Safe School Initiative is a carefully thought-out program to enhance security for both students and host communities against all forms of violence, including sexual harassment. Spokesperson of the Corps, Afolabi Babawale, equally hinted that the Corps is contemplating a sensitization program to train students on early warning security tips and threats. Environment journalists and media organizations have important roles to play in saving lives, livelihoods, and ecosystem from the catastrophic effects of climate change. How to amplify this crucial function is what African Union, African broadcasters, and other experts addressing in Nairobi, Kenya. Environment correspondent Jennifer Igwe has more on this.
Climate change is presenting nations the world over with challenges that are unpredictable. And African nations are constantly experiencing firsthand how unpleasant extreme weather occurrences can be. Unprecedented flooding in May, for example, has claimed the lives of over 200 people in Kenya.
The impacts of climate change are not only environmental, but also economic.
People are dying. As the light bearers, journalists, we have to prevent all this by calling the attention of public and also the attention of government on the dangers they are facing.
This inaugural African Union of Broadcasters Summit on climate change is aimed at enhancing the capacity of broadcasters to comprehensively cover disaster risk reduction strategies and deliver timely and easily understood early warnings.
You are key actors to inspire, educate, show solutions, and generate the actions needed to achieve the goal of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, the Climate Paris Agreement, and the Sustainable Development Goals.
Hosted by the Kenyan Broadcasting Corporation, the summit is organized by the African Union of Broadcasters and supported by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. From Nairobi, Kenya, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
First port of call on Nationwide today is our Lagos Network Center, and Adeola will be our guide. Over to you, Adeola.
Fuel in Lagos is now witnessing a steady improvement of supply to match the demand for petrol as congestion at petrol stations is gradually disappearing. Diana Ajala reports that Lagosians are beginning to get respite after the long week of fuel scarcity in the metropolis.
A drive round the Lagos metropolis shows that petrol stations that once closed their gates to motorists in the last couple of weeks due to lack of petroleum products have reopened for business. Road users who faced fuel scarcity never return to the city anymore to enable them get the commodity unhindered.
The queue is moving, and it's not long to when I reach there. So let me say 30 minutes when I reach there, and the queue is moving.
Rose Nwoke shared her experience with NTA News crew on how the fuel scarcity affected her movement so far.
If, for example, as a business person, I'm carrying goods, like all the other commodities in town, if something you're supposed to move with, let's say 500 naira, and you're moving it with 700, 800, 1,000, invariably the cost of the goods will be affected too. So it's affecting everybody. Petroleum products drive the economy, most especially fuel, because it will transport both humans and goods. And whatever comes out of, or whatever you pay or you put in as transportation, will actually be plowed back into the business.
Motorists, however, appeal to government to put in more efforts at ensuring hitch-free supply of petroleum products across the country, as this will go a long way in reducing citizens' suffering. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
And to health matters now. Asthma is one of the major non-communicable diseases that, if not managed well, can cause avoidable deaths. The world has dedicated every first Tuesday in the month of May to raise awareness about the disorder. And this year, the focus is Asthma Education Empowers. Ingino John Adams takes it from here.
Asthma is a chronic long-term lung disease caused by inflammation and muscle tightening around the airways, thereby making breathing difficult. It affects both children and adults. Data by the World Health Organization shows that asthma affected about 262 million people and caused 455,000 deaths globally in 2019 alone. With research by Global Initiative for Asthma still showing dwindling statistics of avoidable deaths caused by the condition, experts say proper care is important.
Asthma is not only treated with medicine. Medicine is a strong point in which we used to treat asthma, but also education, is a very important part. In fact, participating or discouraging air pollution in our environment and all those also play a major role, in preventing asthma.
To prevent attacks, patients are advised to avoid triggers.
The citrus, your lime, your ginger, your allium sativum, which happens to be garlic. Yes, these are high anti-inflammatory. They have anti-inflammatory properties, and this can further relax those muscles and allow easy passage of the air.
Medical experts are advocating aggressive enlightenment campaigns to increase awareness on the dangers of the condition and ensure that environmentally friendly medications are also made available. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams, NTA News.
And those are reports from Lagos for now. Nationwide will continue in Maiduguri with Abubakar when we return from this break. Please stay with us.
You're still on to Nationwide. The news belt will now continue in Maiduguri, where we shall begin by telling you that Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his prompt attention to the fight against insurgency in the northeast. The governor gave the commendation when he visited Malum Faturi, headquarters of Abadam Local Government Council in the northern part of Borno State. Mohammed Guni will now tell us more.
Governor Bagana Omar Zulum visited Malampatori, a community bordering Niger Republic, as part of efforts to return residents who were displaced by flooding last year after their initial resettlement by the Borno State government. Governor Zulum discussed modalities for resettlement of the community with the officers and men of the Task Force Battalion in Malampatori, giving assurances of providing necessary support to complement efforts of the federal government.
And I want to commend the battalion here for giving access to Malampatori community to the agricultural lands. Huge number of the community have cultivated their farmlands, and this is a kudos. And we shall do everything possible to resettle them.
He also extended gratitude to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tofik Labaja, for his commitment to restoration of peace in Borno State. Professor Zulum was accompanied by Member House of Representatives Bukar Talba, member representing Abadam at the State Assembly, Jamnabong, and Commissioner of Information and Internal Security, Professor Usman Tar, as well as that of Local Government and Emirate Affairs, Soun Maimele. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Away from that now to tell you that Borno State Center for Kanuri, Ajami and Quranic Studies, one of its kind in Nigeria and established by the Borno State government, has commenced 6 weeks training for Sangha teachers. Memuna Garba completes the story.
The Center for Kanuri, Ajami and Quranic Studies, located at the Borno State University, was established to enhance Quranic knowledge for the benefit of Sangha teachers and students in the state. Director of the center, Dr. Mustafa Muhammad Ali, disclosed that 50 students are undergoing training selected after rigorous interviews. He spoke on the various strides made by the center.
This center, since it was established, it has organized a sensitization program last year for the entire Islamic scholars in Borno State. After that, this center has signed MAU with over 30 universities in Pakistan, Kazakhstan, and Nigeria on behalf of Borno State University.
Deputy Director, Research and Training, Associate Professor Mehmodu Barmame, stated that the 4 main subjects of study are Quran, Ajami, Arabic, and English languages. Pioneer Vice Chancellor, Borno State University, Professor Umar Kyari Sandabe said the center was established to promote formal education for Sangaya teachers to ensure that they are employable anywhere, emphasizing that they will be issued certificates that will be valuable anywhere in the world. This is the first set of teachers to undergo training at the center. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
You're on to Nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority. Let us at this point return to Ayodeji in Abuja for more reports for us this evening.
Abubakar in our Maiduguri Network Center, we appreciate you. Back here in Abuja, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is convening a National Emergency Coordination Forum to brainstorm with the view to come up with a lasting solution to mitigate the likely flood disaster eruption this year. Eliasu Yakubu reports.
Since the release of the annual predictions on seasonal climate predictions and flood outlook by NIMET and NISA, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has not rested on its oars in making frantic efforts aimed at coordinating strategies in building capacities of intervening agencies to ease the likely hazards occasioned by annual flooding. The DG NEMA said total collaboration and coordination will be the key instrument in the journey of disaster intervention and mitigation in the country. She said NEMA, as the coordinating body of disaster response, a lot is expected from the agency, hence this series of coordinating meetings and disaster response strategies embarked upon to reduce and mitigate the impacts.
Based on the predictions, various recommendations have been made as preparedness and mitigative actions to be taken by relevant stakeholders to reduce possible impacts.
Other speakers at the meeting commended NEMA for always living up to its responsibility of coordinating response strategies aimed at mitigating the hazards of flooding across the country. Participants were drawn from the Nigerian military, FRSC, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Fire Service, Nigerian Red Cross Society, United Nations, Ministry of Water Resources, and other government agencies. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo is calling for support for border communities in order to retain their loyalty and enhance national security. Tunji-Ojo was speaking when he received the recently appointed Executive Secretary of the Border Communities Development Commission Agency. The BCDA boss had drawn the attention of the minister to the sufferings of Nigerians living in border communities while soliciting support for their welfare.
These are often neglected. They are found around the fringes and the circumference of the country. Most of them do not have basic amenities, even water. Talk less of health centers and schools.
The need to develop border communities pledged the support of the Ministry of Interior and called for others to help.
Of the military easier. It makes the job of NSCDC easier. It even makes the job of the NIS easier. Every security agency will be, and Nigerians will have a better secured life. So for me, supporting you is a must.
The minister was later presented a document capturing the needs assessment of border communities. Bilkisu in our Jos Network Center is next on Nationwide. And over to you, Bilkisu.
Jos. Governor Caleb Mutfwang is emphasizing the need to revisit the master plan of the Plateau State University Bokos to make the institution unique and attractive. This was during his visit to the institution following recent security challenge in the area. Indiang and Abagang reports.
The governor was in Bokos to interact with members of the university community and also see for himself the level of damage that was done to the institution in recent weeks. The governor says the state government under his watch will preserve and protect all legacies of the state, which the university is one. He assured the acting vice chancellor of the university of improved security, partnership that will lift the institution, and the need to revisit the master plan of the institution and make necessary corrections that will make the university unique and attractive.
The meaning of visitor to the university means that I'm the trustee of Plateau people. That if this university fails, I will be held responsible. If it succeeds, I will be held responsible. I therefore take this responsibility very seriously. I want to assure the people of Plateau State that we will defend Plateau State.
The acting vice-chancellor of the university, Professor Shedrack Best, commended the fatherly step the governor took during the trying moment of the institution and the release of funds for the allowances of personnel and accreditation of courses. The Plateau State University Bokos was established in 2005 in Jos, Indenyan, and the Abuja. NTA News.
Nigerian Army officers' conversion exercise has commenced in Jos with a call on the candidates to be good ambassadors of the Army through exceptional conduct. President of the 2024 Conversion Board and General Officer Commanding 3 Division, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar gave the charge while addressing officers. Ijoma Ozomina reports.
The Army conversion exercise is a periodic event aimed at converting short service and direct short service combatants to regular and direct regular commission. This is very significant in the career progression of officers. President of the Conversion Board, who is also the General Officer commanding 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, urged the candidates to obey stipulated rules and regulations, be active and focused as the exercise is key to their career. The conversion is in line with the Chief of Army Staff's mandate of equipping the Army with physical and intellectual capacity that will maximize their abilities to serve and protect the nation effectively. The candidates are expected to be tested in weapon handling, medical fitness, and drills.
I urge you to continue working hard and demonstrate your knowledge, training, experience, and general knowledge expected of officers of your rank. The board will ensure fairness and equal treatment for all candidates.
The conversion has a total of 528 short service and direct short service officers. The exercise ends on the 19th of May at the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, Rukuba, Jos, Plateau State. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Jos. Nationwide continues with Dibabari in Port Harcourt after this break.
Welcome to Port Harcourt. Governor Siminalayi Fubara has assured that the River State government is determined to provide purposeful leadership and developmental projects across the 23 local government areas in the state. He stated this when he received in audience members of the House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions led by its chairman Mike Etaba in Government House, Port Harcourt. Osnachi Samuel reports.
The governor is pleased to receive the committee from the Green Chambers, telling them that peace has returned to River State and that economic activities are picking up. The governor maintains that as long as his administration and Rivers people are concerned, there is no more political issues of note.
It is your style that brings respect and love. And what we are doing is to respect our people. And in turn, as people are giving us that support for leadership. So I'm happy that you're here, and when you go back, you'll tell them that River State is moving forward.
Leader of the delegation and chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions, Mike Etaba, explained that they came into Port Harcourt on the basis of a petition that is before the House and referred to the committee.
Your Excellency, you are doing well. Don't be distracted. What you owe dearly is to hold God strong. The Lord is your strength, and you will succeed in every decision you take. Ask him for wisdom, he will direct you.
The committee pledged to support Governor Fubara's government. They urged the people of goodwill in the state to rally support and remain strong in their loyalty to the governor to enable him to succeed in delivering good governance and quality leadership to River State. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
Experts and scientists in West Africa are holding a week-long workshop on how to drive regional economy through diversity genomics. Kingsley Amadiri brings us details of this engagement holding at the University of Port Harcourt.
of this workshop is driving West African bioeconomy through biodiversity genomics. It aims to establish, connect scientists and institutions that are role players in the African Genome Project Initiative. The engagement would further create awareness and galvanize institutions and researchers at the regional level to drive the vision and set objectives.
This workshop is part of the effort of Africa Biogenome Project to raise capacity in terms of expertise in genomics and bioinformatics, so that we'll have people who will be able to sequence genomes of the species of plants and animals in Africa.
For these participants, understanding diversities in plants, animals, and humans via research would be of help to providing solutions to diseases and enhance green economy.
The essence of this workshop is to drive the West African bioeconomy through biodiversity genomics. It's open to people that are interested in genomics, bioinformatics, molecular biology, and related fields.
Vice Chancellor, University of Port Harcourt, represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, enjoined participants to share knowledge that will help to transform the society and provide solutions to human problems.
Life scientists now rely on digital sequence data based on the arrangement of nucleotide molecules in the DNA to solve all kinds of problems.
The lead paper presenters are of the view that an African initiative to conserve biodiversity calls for capacity development and African institutions to invest in genome. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. It's back to Ayodeji for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thanks, Dibabari, in our Port Harcourt Network Center. Now let's take you to the northeast, where Yobe State's government says it will sustain its support to military and other security agencies to execute counter-insurgency operations and fight crime for lasting peace in the state. Governor Buni made this commitment when he received the newly posted commander, Sector 2, Northeast Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai, in Government House, Damaturu. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
To the Timbuktu Triangle is one of the commendable steps that you have taken to ensure that we are secured.
That set the tune for the visit by the Infantry General to the Government House, with Governor Buni underscoring the invaluable sacrifices made by officers and men of the sector in ensuring that peace is sustained in the state.
As a government, we will support all the security agencies, especially the military, because we know what the military are going through to ensure that we are secured as a state. Because to us here in Yobe State, security is a first-line charge.
The visiting Sector 2 commander appreciated the state government for the assistance given to units and formations under the sector, something which he says are aiding officers and men on the front line to combat remnants of terrorists within its area of responsibility.
As Aida said, we are going to secure Yobe. I'm here to ensure that Yobe is secured. And by the grace of God, we are going to secure Yobe.
Until his posting to Sector 2, Brigadier General Chidibere Ejike was the commander of 25 Brigade, Dambua, Borno State.
Thank you.
In the Metro, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Bauchi State government says it is determined to ensure utilization of the resources available towards improving the livestock production in the state. Governor Bala Mohammed gave this indication while inaugurating the State Steering Committee for the Livestock Production and Resilience Support Project under the World Bank-assisted program. Awal Abdullahi reports.
Enhancement of the livestock production for the reduction of poverty among the teeming populace are major reasons for the inauguration of the steering committee in Bauchi. Allocation of a plot for the construction of a multi-billion naira modern veterinary clinic and a move to rehabilitate all abattoirs in Bauchi State, according to Governor Bala Mohammed, are among the priorities of his administration. Meanwhile, the governor has received a delegation from the African Development Bank for the feasibility and environmental study ahead of the phase 2 implementation of the agro-industrial processing zone.
Some of the things that we are here to check is the availability of the feasibility studies, the environmental and impacts assessment report, verification of site for both the agro-industrial hub and then the agricultural transformation centers.
The best way is not to plead, is to work hard to satisfy their expectations and their sensibilities.
The pilot program of this agro-industrial processing was conducted in 7 states across the country. In Bauchi, Awwal Abdullahi, NTA News.
Nigeria has convened a national dialogue on pandemic fund application. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, says this is part of efforts to strengthen the ability to prevent, prepare, and respond to disease outbreaks that could lead to pandemic. Uche Ugochukwu tells us more.
With Nigeria, like many nations globally, grappling with the socio-economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring that allocated funds are used efficiently and effectively has become paramount. The gathering here is with a shared commitment to foster transparency, collaboration, strategize, and ensure Nigeria's application for the $25 million pandemic fund is effectively used in addressing national needs.
This dialogue serves as a platform for a meaningful exchange to refine strategies so that our national priorities will be clearly defined.
And so in the context of the pandemic fund, we thought that the application that Nigeria put forth should truly reflect that intersectorality that is necessary to safeguard our nation's health security and that strengthen national systems.
United in their quest for transparency and accountability, implementing partners express commitment to address challenges and ensure resources are utilized to safeguard public health and mitigate the impact of future health emergencies.
This dialogue will open us up to more and more of those opportunities to see where are the loopholes and what we need to do.
Really looking forward to understanding the priorities of Nigeria and how Gavi can directly support.
As we think of the pandemic fund application itself, it's also an opportunity to think about the fuller program for health security in the country.
Funding is important, and we want to work together to support NCDC to be the driver of these efforts.
At the end of the dialogue, Nigeria is expected to submit its application before May 17, 2024, which is the deadline. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
In another health-related story, concerted efforts are ongoing in handling matters of HIV/AIDS. These strategies are strengthened by critical stakeholders towards tackling and eradicating the scourge in the country. Correspondent Salwal Khalil Ibrahim reports.
Going by available records, an estimated 1.9 million Nigerians are said to be living with HIV and AIDS. 27-year-old Karim was infected at birth and has been living with the virus. He is an advocate against stigma and call for inclusion.
A lot is done for young people, but stigma still poses a great threat to the response in the country. We have a lot of young people coming down with mental health issues.
In this part of the globe, youths are said to be at a higher risk of contracting and transmitting the virus. There is also the issue of mother-to-child transmission. It is against all these issues that the 2024 HIV Prevention Youth Conference is taking place with youths from different parts of the country.
This underscores the importance of community involvement in shaping effective prevention strategies, which, while ensuring access to health for those living with HIV/AIDS.
Hence, the need to reevaluate, rethink, and re-strategize HIV prevention intervention programs is the key.
Prevention is better than cure, and be the change agents that Nigeria needs.
We can facilitate an AIDS-free generation where no child will be born HIV positive
in Nigeria.
Just like Karim, many Nigerian youth are accelerating HIV prevention through innovative means to end AIDS as a public health concern by 2030. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps says it is reviewing the provision of stiffer penalties in its acts to serve as deterrents to road traffic violators. This it is doing with a renewed vigor of pursuing prosecution. The Corps Marshal, Dauda Alibiu, reaffirmed this in an exclusive interview with Olajide Bello on recent strategies to curtail the menace.
These are not immigrants of the Japa syndrome, but passengers apprehended for overloading of goods and passengers by officers and men of the Federal Road Safety Corps traveling from one part of the country to the other. This is an example of how the journey usually ends. This ugly incident that now dots the landscape of major highways in the country necessitated the proactiveness of the Federal Road Safety Corps to come up with a joint task force approach to tackle the hydra-headed monster.
Yes, over time we noticed, and it's practical, that these trailers and trucks that carried goods, animals, and then carried human passengers along. Whenever they have a crash, we have a high fatality. That is, we have so many deaths and so many injuries.
That's not all, as the Corps is imposing payment of compensation to victims of road traffic crashes and also advocating comprehensive insurance for commercial motorists.
Though we have few cases where even the drivers too die, but in most cases they escape unhurt, and then and they just walk away. No punishment. So we just felt that this cannot continue. Drivers that carry people in such a manner, they need to face the justice, and then we felt that fines, penalty is not enough. Yes, they should be jailed. They should go to jail. I think jailing them will be very effective deterrence to them when they come out, and then to others who may have the intention of committing the same offense.
The Corps Marshal says, always remember, drive slower to live longer. Drive slowly, someone is waiting at home. Stop driving fast before accident stops you. And above all, obey traffic rules to avoid accident. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And next is sports updates.
TTF African Cup and Olympics qualification tournament. In grassroots basketball development, young basketball players between the ages of 12 and 17 have been given the opportunity to showcase their talents and be discovered at the maiden edition of Sipora Elite Basketball Slam Festival, which ended in Sangotedo. Crown Estate basketball team emerged champions of the week-long tournament, which featured 6 estates in the community.
The vision again is for the kids to get to know themselves, interact among themselves positively, and take them away from anything that is untoward, and have their sight, their vision, to conquer the world.
From the foreign scene, hostilities continue Tuesday and Wednesday as the 2024 UEFA Champions League enters second leg semi-final stage. Borussia Dortmund, with a long goal advantage, will be the guest of PSG. Drama is expected as Real Madrid will lock arms with Bayern Munich. The first leg ended 2 goals apiece. With sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
And that's nationwide. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. On behalf of the entire production crew, this is the Nigerian Television Authority. Good evening.